Have you ever heard the theory, the high-low theory? It's basically that rich people and homeless people understand the reality of the world and everyone who's stuck in the middle doesn't. Like, the really rich people didn't get the vaccine and the homeless people didn't get the vaccine. It's the dipshits in the middle who got the vaccine. Really rich people don't pay taxes and homeless people don't pay taxes. It's the dipshits in the middle who pay taxes. Like, who's got freedom? A rich guy's got freedom and a homeless guy's got freedom. Who's telling them what to do? Nobody. In the middle, you got a boss. You got some bitch wife complaining. Oh my God, the house, we need another nursery. We need a room in the house for a nursery. You need to get a guy to paint the room. Shut the f up. Truthfully, all the lessons about the world as well come from the top and the bottom. Yes, the lives are similar, but I think the high-low theory is far more interesting when you apply it to the fact that you only really understand the world at one of the two extremes. Everyone I talk to who's a billionaire understands how the world works. And everyone I talk to who's homeless understands how the world works. But people in the middle don't seem to get it. People in the middle believe in laws and the news. Do you have any idea how visceral your understanding of the corruption involved in the justice system is if you're completely broke and homeless? If you grow up in the ghetto, grow up in the projects, you have no money for an expensive lawyer, you're getting hit by a DA somewhere, you understand how corrupt the system is. All the people at the bottom say, F the police. And do you have any idea how intricately you understand the corruption of the system if you're a billionaire? That the political system and the elections, the judges, all these people are completely corrupted? I found out the other day, believe it or not, that the American government is paying billions of dollars to look after imaginary Somali kids. My answer was, why the f would we pay billions of dollars to look after real Somali kids? Okay, the kids do exist. Still, why does this cost billions of tax? Why are white people in Paris, Texas, paying taxes so that some Somalis in Minnesota can have their kids watched for free? How does that work? Oh, it's called corruption. Now, billionaires get it, and the Somalis at the bottom, well, they were at the bottom, they're billionaires now, they get it. But the guy in the middle paying his taxes, these people don't seem to get it. And that's why the smartest people in the world are like me. Before you disagree, I'm one of the most well-known people on the planet. So I've obviously done something right. Who the fuck are you? And that's because I grew up at the absolute bottom, and now I'm at the absolute top. So I've seen the corruption from both sides. I've had homeless and billionaire. Lucky me. Most people only get one. Everyone in the middle is living in a mirage. You're living in this false version of reality. And I would actually say that that's one of the best reasons you should attempt to get rich, because you achieve an understanding. Do you remember like being young and you'd go to school and they'd try and teach you math and you were confused for the first 45 minutes and then you learned how to do it? And the feeling of pride and achievement, like, wow, I know how it works now. I can do it now. That's the revelation that comes once you're rich, because you understand the world finally. You're sitting there in the middle and you have no clue how anything works. Your stupid ass believes that the law matters and it's not just pieces of paper that are printed out, and that a drug-dealing mafia racket at the bottom is somehow different to a drug-dealing mafia racket at the top. You think the governments are any different than street gangs, you're an idiot. If you think the president is any different than a gangster, you're a fool. You need to get rich to achieve clarity, to achieve understanding. The best thing about me being rich and speaking to other rich people is the clarity of understanding. When I talk to normal people about my personal circumstances, they say asinine things like, so they arrested you for no reason? They can't do that, though. They can just arrest you for no reason. What about that's against the law? It's against the law to have a Somali daycare that steals billions for imaginary kids, you dipshit. Who's gone to jail? Nobody. When I talk to a billionaire about my case, you know what they say? Yes, they accuse you of those things deliberately to try and tarnish your name so people talk about your accusations as opposed to your ideas, because they're threatened by your ideas, because you get more views on your videos than the BBC gets. That's why the British government attacked you. They stole all your money so you couldn't hire a lawyer. It was probably set up by an intel agency. That's what a billionaire says. When I talk to a homeless guy about what happened to me, they say, those cops are corrupt as fuck, man. They get it. But the people in the middle, well, I think in Romania, the law says, you're a retard. It's very important you get rich so that you can understand the reality of the world. If you do not have at least $100 million, you're living in a dream. Like a fish in a forest. You don't even know where you are. You don't know how anything operates. You haven't been in the rooms where these things are discussed. You've never sat there with somebody who has bribed a judge. You never sat there with somebody who has paid for the political campaign for a particular senator to explain how they're going to adjust the law so he can make billions more. You've never seen the corruption. You've never played the game. You're paying your taxes like a dipshit and you are ignorant, living with blinders on. You need to get rich to achieve the clarity so that you can finally ride the tricycle and say, look, I get it now. That's the best thing about being rich. Yes, you get diamond watches. Yes, you get a bunch of sister wives. Yes, you get to fly in private jets. Yes, you get to go wherever you want. Blah, blah, Bugattis, Bugattis, Jescos. But the coolest thing about being rich is understanding the game. Finally learning how the code to the simulation actually operates and runs. The people at the bottom understand it, but they cannot manipulate it. The people at the top understand it, and we can manipulate the system. We can look at the lines in the matrix. We can finally decode it, and we can enter our own virus to change things. Viruses that allow you to travel the world while governments are saying somehow you belong in jail, but you're never in jail. You're just in fucking Barbados in a thunderstorm. Because everything around you is a lie. And I don't know how else to say it because I've been preaching it for years to everybody at home. If you are watching this and you do not have $100 million, please understand every single institution you believe in, the people who you go to for planning permission, the police you call when there's a problem, the doctors you go to when you're sick, all of it is built on one big illusion. It is all a scam. It's an empire of lies. It's all fallacy. It's made up. It's all bullshit. You don't even know who's in charge of your country. If you're living in a Western country right now and I said, who's the boss? And if you name the president, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know who your boss is. You don't know who you're giving your money to. You don't know who's deciding how you live your life. You don't know anything. And if you start to get rich, you start to meet people that tell you stories. And because you were smart enough to get rich, you're smart enough to listen to the stories and start to put it all together. With money comes clarity. So if you're a full-grown man with any degree of self-respect, understanding you are one day going to die, you have a short human experience, you should want to understand life. Don't you want to know how the world works? Don't you want to understand why things happen? You're a full-grown man. Why, no matter who you elect, certain things must happen, even though they degrade society and destroy the nation? Don't you want to understand who's behind these things? Don't you want your children to be safe and happy? Don't you want to actually know what's going on? The jets, the money, the watches and the cars and the girls and all that crap. Don't you want to understand what's going on? And you're not going to unless you get fucking rich. Because if you stay in the middle, you are being psyoped. It is the primary objective of the simulation to psyop the people in the middle. You cannot psyop the rich. They know too much. That's why they don't have to pay tax. You can't make rich people pay tax. Why? Because they know too much. You can't make homeless people pay tax because they ain't got anything. They make your stupid ass pay tax because you're stuck in the middle. You're a slave. They have you psyoped. You're a bitch. You wouldn't even be a bitch if you were homeless. At least you'd be a free enough man to sit there and say, the government ain't taking shit from me. And are you really going to give up your house and car and go live on the street? Probably not. So what's the alternative? The alternative is you better get rich. You can understand the world we're living in. And if that doesn't inspire you, if you watch this video and say, I don't want to get rich to understand how things work. I want to stay a dummy. I want to stay stupid and ignorant. You have no idea how the world changes once you have $100 million. Everyone has a fucking price. Judges have prices. Politicians have prices. Police have a price. Everyone's got a price. You just haven't been playing that game because you ain't got any money. But if you got some, things would start to make sense. So I implore you, if at least for nothing else but the noble quest for knowledge, for nothing else but to understand the simulation you're living in, you need to make some fucking money.
The whole world is governed by laws, the universe, in fact. There's mathematical laws, there's physical laws, speed and velocity laws, there's all kinds of laws. Now that we find ourselves on the spinning planet, you just have to learn what I call the setup. And we should learn the setup for two basic reasons. Number one, to keep from getting hurt. See, economically, socially, personally, you can get hurt just not knowing. Ignorance is not bliss. You got to know, or you're going to get hurt. Now, here's a parenthesis. You don't have to like the setup. That's not what's important. But it is important to learn how it is. Make sure you get the information. See, there's nothing worse than being stupid. I mean, being broke is bad, but being stupid is awful. And what's really bad is being broke and stupid. That's about the end of the world. I mean, there isn't anything much worse than that. Unless you're sick. Sick, broken, stupid. I mean, that is it, right? There's nowhere else to go. So number one, learn so you won't get hurt. Whether you like it or not, learn. Now here's the second reason for learning. To benefit. It's called the plus of life. And that's what life is, right? Both minus and plus. So here's the key. Learn to get on the good side of the way things work.
There is nothing on the planet that you can't do. Even if you don't know how to do it. Even if you're not prepared to go and learn how. Even if for some reason you lack the motivation, the dedication, the gumption to knuckle down and get it done. If you have a little bit of money and basic people skills, you can simply organize a team to do it for you. That's all it is. Elon puts rockets in space by walking around with his PayPal money, finding people who know how to put rockets in space and convincing them to work really hard. So when people say, I can't, I don't know how to, that's just cope. And of course you can. You just need to want to. As soon as you want to do it, as soon as you actually care about getting it done, the sooner you finally knuckle down and dedicate yourself towards X objective, the sooner it gets finished. There is nothing you cannot do with a little bit of money and basic people skills. Everyone wants to win, but not everybody wants to win more than they want other things. If I said to you, do you want to become a world-level figure skater? You'd say, well, yeah, sure. I want that, but I don't want it enough to go and train. I don't want it enough to go and fall over on the ice and hurt myself. Wanting something means nothing. We all want everything. It's how much you want it. Want is a hierarchy, and only the top 3 or 4 wants matter. Everything else you want below that is insignificant. So my top wants are, I want to be respected. I want to be in fantastic physical condition. I want to be very rich. If your want is to have fun, that's your prerogative. But you're going to lose out on a whole bunch of things because you're focused on having fun. So you have to decide your top 3 or 4 wants. And it's hard because there's going to be things you cut out. You might have to cut out that girl who wants all your time. Do you want her pussy or do you want monumental success?
You do not need fun until you've already reached the highest possible echelon. So this whole idea that you need fun in your life, you don't. What you need is purpose. You need discipline. You need things to do which are going to benefit you and the others around you. And you need performance metrics. You don't need to be waking up thinking about fun. You're not important. Nobody knows who you are. You're not physically strong. You're not financially wealthy. You have bigger concerns. Hey, what are we going to do this weekend? We need to have some fun. Really? Have you actually gone out there in the universe and made a mark large enough that you're allowed some time off to have some fun? You don't deserve any fun. You don't need any fun. You have work to do. You're unhappy because you're trying to have fun instead of trying to become important. Then you're never going to feel satisfied in your heart unless you become important. Please imagine for a second you're the most Googled man on the planet. Hundreds of millions of dollars and you're built like a tank. Imagine how you feel when you look in the mirror. Nothing can match that and nothing can beat that. In my 20s, I spent maybe 10,000 hours in the gym training. You're the same age as me. What did you do with those 10,000 hours? Watch TV, go out, sit around, nap. And they can't even name what they did with any of their time. They're like, don't know. So if you're 16, you need to be using every single waking minute towards things you're going to remember. You're going to remember training. You're going to remember working hard. You're going to remember trying to make money. Time is the ultimate currency. Time is money. But people have all this time and they just mush around with it. And then they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know why. Oh, I'm failing. I wish I was successful.